I knew this wasn't going to be ideal, but I promised a recap after every USA game. The USA just defeating Martinique 6-1 in their second group game from the Gold Cup. So I'm here in Miami. I was calling Copa Libertadores, flying back to Los Angeles tomorrow, staying at my mom's house. So you're getting a look behind the screen here. We have some interesting art. We have a Santo Niño de Atocha. We lived in Colombia a little bit, and this woman I can't remember her name. I should have done the work and preparation. But she's a very strong female figure in Colombian legend and lore. If anyone knows the name, drop it off in the comment. But we have this stuff. This is my mom's house. She has terrible wine. So I was watching the USA game and I wanted a little drink, so I got a little. I mean, it's not the good stuff. I mean, this is not Opus whatever. So I don't want to give me free advertising. But I need a little bit to wash down this. I just finished calling Olimpia versus Internacional at Porto Alegre. Rushed home to watch the game. And, well, you got to like what you see. So let's get into it. Enough talking about me. We talked about the wine. We talked about, I don't know her name, but it's a wonderful little statue. One of my mom's favorites. Here in Miami, watching USA beat Martinique 6-1. So before we say anything here, let's say this is the Soccer OG. Yeah. Please subscribe, share, leave a comment, do whatever it takes. Do it. Do it for her. Do it for me. Do it for yourself. So before we go any further, we should remind everyone this is Martinique. And that's a big old grain of salt when you're talking about results. And it's silly when I'm tweeting. I'm on Twitter. I have an okay following. And there's a lot of people who aren't fans of U.S. soccer. And they see me tweeting about Daryl Dike and Matthew Hoppy. And they're like, what, you're playing Martinique. What's going on? I know. So we got to at least put that in. Although Martinique is not, I'm just kidding. They're got good players. They have no organization. So they're always going to be second fiddle. They're going to get worse as tournaments go on. So after that, the struggle with Haiti, the United States convincing here, 7 changes to the lineup, 7 exciting changes, and we can talk about that group that came in. It was fun to watch them hit the ball around. Matthew Hoppy. Let's start with Matthew Hoppy because you think he was a big figure. I don't know if he's going to be a current long-term prospect with his team, as in making the 23-man roster. I still think he's got an uphill battle to do that. But for this competition, he's massive because injury to Paul Arriola, they didn't bring in a lot of wingers. Some of the wingers they have didn't really look good in the first game. They needed someone to step up. They played Nico Gioacchini as a winger. That didn't look comfortable. Matthew Hoppy, who was a forward for Schalke 04, looks good as a winger. And he was involved in one of the Daryl Dike goals. I know one was an own goal, but he had 2 otherwise, which were fantastic. And we'll get to him in a moment. But Matthew Hoppy, as it applies to this competition, I think has now become a big factor, which could lead him getting to a 23-man roster. I just don't see him making that since he seemed like a outside-looking-in guy for this team. But now he might be on the inside. Didn't go the full 90, but a very exciting development there. He's a fun watch. Nutmegs, stretching the field out. He looks like he should be a winger, if you ask me. So that was very good, although playing alongside him, Daryl Dike, and that is one of the big concerns for the United States. And again, just a reminder, this is Martinique, so we can't really be prisoners of the moment, which I tend to be from time to time. A little bit of a prisoner of the moment. Anyone know? So I look at Daryl Dike a little bit more beyond that because we saw him at Barnsley and we saw the tools that he has, which would suggest he could be the starting number 9. And a lot of people on Twitter, and look, I hate to keep bringing up Twitter, but we're all on there, all us soccer geeks. We've got to tighten it up. We've got to tighten it up on social media as an American soccer community. People hate us. They hate us, and they have every reason to. We're lame. Anyway, we're not as cool as NBA Twitter, or we gotta work that. I did my part. I'm sorry. It's you guys. Just kidding. I gotta put my hand up as well. So Daryl Dike inside is a guy we've had a good sample size of work, and this just really enforced it. How commanding he was, how good he looked as an aerial threat. It looked like a Brian McBride. You play a ball in there, he might get his head to it. Daryl Dike has a real good shot to not only be on that 23-man roster, but maybe starting in the 11. It falls on Josh Sargent. Sargent's always going to be the number one choice, but Gyasi Zardes came on here and he scored a goal, and I was thrilled for Gyasi Zardes because I know he is thrown through the ringer and he's done very well for the U.S. through the years, and in a pinch he'll get you a goal, and that is a fact. And I'm not going to rule out Gyasi Zardes, but Daryl Dike is a special player, and he's getting better. When you see these guys who are 17, 18, 19, and they get better every 6 months considerably, you're like, that's the guy. And Zardes was a bit of a slower burn, but I don't want to diminish him at all because he had a good game, came in on his first touch and scored a goal. But Daryl Dike, I think, looks like he can shoot up the pecking order. And Greg Berhalter is going to feel the pressure because people are going to be screaming for him because his star is about to blow up, if it hasn't already, in a small blow up in a bigger stage where maybe non-soccer fans are getting involved. I have my microphone. I just want to make sure it's coming out. Again, Martinique, but Daryl Dike, very promising. It was a very exciting 11. George Bello came on at left back. It was all right. Shaq Moore, okay. Came up a few sides. I mean, he's had 2 good games. Gianluca Busio. Gianluca Busio is a very interesting dilemma because he's best at the back of the midfield, the number 6. So the back of the midfield is the most important position on the field. The good number 6s can do it all. They can be tough, they can pass short, long, they can make tackles, lots of them. Busio passes very well. He supports very well. He transitions very well. The defensive side, it's okay. But I think you need a well-rounded player at that position, which may keep him down a rung or two. And I know Jackson Ewell gets the criticism. He's a better defensive player than Gianluca Busio. That's why he's in front of him. But he can't do what Busio does. And I'm not comparing him, and I've done it before, I'm not comparing him to Andrea Pirlo, but playing the way Busio plays the 6 is the way Pirlo plays the 6. And Italy, when Pirlo plays the 6, had some defensive liabilities. They were able to cover them a lot of times. A little bit later, they weren't. And I'd say that's part of why Italy kind of hit a wall before they've been rejuvenated here at the Euros. So that's a position that I think managers will always go on the safe side. Busio hasn't made mistakes, but he's a small player. And you look at him and you worry. You want a seasoned guy because if he played a World Cup campaign, there's a lot of wear and tear. I'm not taking him out of it. As great as he was fantastic. I think they had 15 corner kicks. They were okay, the corners, but they'd like to see get a goal if you get 15. So great from Gianluca Busio. Just an exciting watch. But you wonder if the exciting part equates winning. I'm not saying one. Matt Turner, as convinced as ever, he's our number 1. James Sands, who I predicted to be in the starting 11 when I released my projected 11 here on YouTube. Very good, especially as a guy who can play that central defense by himself. He had a lot of help there with Robinson and Zimmerman, who were both solid. But Sands, with his passing, is a very special prospect. But again, do you go back to a back 4, which is the bread and butter of this team? And can you rely on a kid who's what? He's 21 to do that job. I'd like to see it. I think Sands will get there, just not now. But it looks like he works better in a back 3 than a back 4. A back 4 kind of cramps his style a little bit. But he was really good. It just looked comfortable in a very big spot. Eric Williamson, I think we knew that about him. He's the tough midfielder, but he had some great passes and assists. He has that look. I think there's a spot for him as well. I remember it was about picking out a team. Oh, wait, that was too much light. There we go. Picking out those 6 or 7 players that will make the 23-man squad for World Cup qualifying. Williamson's right on the cusp there. I think I covered most of these guys. So the bench, Giacchini came in and he scored really nice. Acosta came in for Shaq Moore. Zardes came in for DK, so we covered it pretty well. So now the United States take on Canada. I haven't been this excited for a USA-Canada game since the 2010 Winter Olympics when they played for the gold medal in hockey. I might be overselling it, but it's going to be a full house. It's going to be a fun watch. Canada with a tie wins the group. The USA have to go out and win it. I think they will. But whoever plays in that 11 is really going to answer all the questions. Berhalter has a big task ahead of him because there's a lot of guys there that are putting their hands up. Do you go back to the tried and tested in game one, Yule, Berhalter, Leggett, or do you give some of these young guys? I think they might go, it's going to be a combo. You know, they split the difference. I hope there's a spot for Busio. I'm not sure if he will be in there. It's also not a sink or swim game for the U.S. They're going to make the round of 16, so your tournament life is not on the line still. And you never know what's going to happen on the other side of the bracket. You might avoid Mexico by finishing second. But you still want to go out and win that. That's the rule of thumb. The United States, the Soccer OG here on YouTube. Check out the Soccer OG podcast. I'm going to be joined by Nigel Rio-Coker this weekend. The current podcast up there, Christian Jack and I project the next great North American rivalry. Is it happening? Will we see it on Sunday?